Does Federico know Stu? Federico, do you know this guy here, Stu?
No.
Stu is a friend. Is a friend that said he knows you. You don't know him? No. Stu, he ask him. Didn't he ask about him?
Who, Anto? Wait.
Stu Gaff.
We're recording already. The cameras are on.
Oh, the cameras are on.
All right. Welcome to initiation. For the people that are watching on the podcast. This is how Antonio has initiated Peter's new intern at Super Soccer Agency. If the guy quits, it's on him.
You didn't pass the test, Federico. We'll give you another try.
Don't worry.
We're good
All right, you
people
want to
over
pop
here.
this champagne?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Oh, man.
Hey, happy birthday.
All right.
Mark,
I
how
am
old are you? 20?
Celebrating 30 years old.
Oh, God. 30?
Are you happy or you depressed?
I hope I don't make it that age.
I was never happy when my birthday was.
No, 30, I feel old now.
You feel old.
In
I
my
feel like
20s, I could get away with like anything. It's like, oh, you're young. Now I'm 30.
I was thinking the episode of Friends with Joey
Yes.
Tribbiani.
Yeah, and where he says, I made a
Which
deal.
God.
Tribbiani.
Joey Tribbiani from Friends.
Cipriani?
It's a show.
Friends, you know
I
Friends,
don't
the
watch
show?
shows. I don't watch
Well,
shows.
he basically says
Licogliani.
he's supposed to be the only one in the friend group that doesn't
Guys,
get old, doesn't get 30 years old. But yeah, it doesn't happen. So
Hey, by the way, for the
It is
people
what it
that I
is.
cannot see on the
I'm
camera,
Mr.
we have
Producer, Mr. Producer.
We have Mr. Producer over here. We have Miguel and we have Federico.
that's right.
Federico.
What are we doing with this
Federico
game?
Gatti.
Just cut it? Okay. One little cut.
Oh, they got it.
One
Miguel.
little cut.
Miguel.
Yeah.
Oh!
I come my class is the smallest one over here.
All right, Anto, why don't you do the intro today?
Okay, guys.
As
While
usual. Why
the
don't you do the
birthday
toast?
while
The
the
toast.
birthday boys is cutting the cake, you know, we're trying to make
Okay,
it a
give us
big
a toast.
surprise here and there. I guess it
was a good
worked out.
surprise.
So.
I appreciate you guys.
Hey, put a little bit more on the stuff here. Paisa. It
Your
look
wife
like,
said you're not supposed to drink.
don't worry, my son is not here. Stop.
He was supposed to come.
I appreciate you guys.
Anyway,
Thank
guys, let's celebrate his 30th birthday party.
To another 30 years.
Just 30?
Me.
You don't have your mic.
changing every day.
Cent'anni, all the mic. So let me do the introduction. Actually, let me start from my left first, and then when it comes to you, then you take off the mic, okay? From my left, we have Federico. He's the new Peter's intern. You don't see it on the camera.
Peter's intern.
Mr. Producer, you know, the face is impossible to miss, to unrecognize. And then we
Looks
have
like the old man from
Miguelito
Up.
over here next to him, and then Peter Curto, aka PC. And then we have GM, a.k.a. Gaetano Messina, il comandante, il
AKA
presidente.
works the
Take
other
off.
way.
You can take off. Go ahead, comandante.
I want to wish you the best birthday ever.
Thank you.
Don't feel like you're getting old, even though you might be getting old. But,
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he's saying it. It's bad.
you know, 30 years old, enjoy every day. That's the secret. The secret is to enjoy every day. Because when I was 25, 26, 27, you know, you always think, you don't stop and think in the moment how to enjoy. You think always about something else. And then the time goes by. I'm over 65 now.
Oh, I thought it was a lot more than 65.
And it's a lot more. But
Over 65 can mean 75, 85, 95.
and then before you turn around and all of a sudden you're 60 years old, you know. So from 30 to 60, there's a lot of years. But if you enjoy it, every moment of it, and if you make the best out of it, it's going to be a long time.
Cheers to that.
Okay, cheers. Okay, let me finish up the introduction, guys. On his left, on Gaetano.
Can I have a
on the-
sip? Can I have
on
a
the-
sip
Yeah,
first?
you can have a sip. On GM left, we have the birthday boy, M&M, a.k.a. Marco Messina. And then, to say the last...
You forgot about me.
No,
The match is kicking
the
in.
last but not the least is
got
MK.
it?
Yeah.
Michael Core, a.k.a. Michael Kantaris, Il Greco.
Now,
It's the producer. He
The
wants to be on
producer
screen.
is-
You
is
know?
wants to be on
taking the
screen.
cake
It's
away.
screen
There you go.
So,
Take it away.
Gaetano, would you say Marco was your favorite son? On his very special birthday?
Wow.
I just want to say we've been doing this
Right.
for many years now. It feels like a tradition on this podcast. And hopefully it doesn't just stop at 30. Hopefully it goes
Me? I hope so.
I have to say something.
I come, nobody does anything with it when it's my birthday.
What do you mean? We did do
Well,
it.
We did it for me.
We did it in the group chat.
Oh,
You're getting old, Anto. You're getting old.
I know.
No,
Forget it.
I must say something about Marco. Marco has been my hero since you were a little kid. I probably never told you this, but whenever there was a decision to be made. Wherever we were traveling, around Italy, wherever we went. Oh, I had to buy something in a store, and I would ask you. You always came with the right answer, and I think this carried on throughout your life up until now. I think you have a way to make the right decisions, and life is and football is about making decisions. So.
All right, thank you. I remember my childhood a little bit different, but it's all right.
Now you're gonna make us
Except
cry,
for
Gaetano.
Napoli winning the
Thanks.
Scudetto.
Yeah.
You're not getting that decision.
I think after this weekend, are we cheersing to Inter winning? Are we cheersing to Atalanta being back in the race?
Atalanta back in the race.
That ruined my birthday. Waking up at 6:30 in the morning and watching Como beating Napoli. As
It
much as I
wasn't your
love
birthday
Como,
anymore.
I know, but
was
that's
bad.
the only thing
Well,
I really wanted.
I might have some good news for you. I'll tell you during the podcast.
All right.
You think Napoli still has a chance?
No, give you better news.
Yeah,
Napoli's gonna win.
No.
Atalanta's going to win.
let's do
What
it in
is
the
it? What is it?
podcast. I'll do it during the podcast.
I need the good news now.
Okay. Juventus still got a chance.
Get the hell out of here. With a sip of champagne, you're already gone, man. Oh my God.
Wait a minute.
Imagine if you finish that glass.
Wait a minute. Until a month ago.
Can you say that AC Milan still has a chance?
Yeah, you said it that AC Milan had a chance until a month ago. So why can I say now that Juventus has a
They
chance?
got no chance.
Wait
Anyway,
a
but
minute.
anyway,
The
I
way-
wish he's right.
The way
right.
Inter is losing points, Napoli is losing points, and Juventus is winning week after week.
Mr. Producer,
You
come
never
on,
know.
come on over.
Yeah, I'm not
He
saying.
looks thirsty. He looks
I
thirsty.
said a chance. I didn't say they're going to win.
Oh.
They have a chance.
So does Napoli still have a chance? Mike, I know you're down bad on them. I think this was the week that you started to give up.
I was so high on Napoli. I had the biggest balloon for them, but the past few weeks, the balloon has decreased. It feels like it's popped, and their eagerness, their demeanor on the field, it just feels like the dream has really gone. And I see it from the players, I see it from the coach, and I really hope I'm wrong, but that's how I'm feeling right now.
So the last 4 games, 0 wins, 3 ties, and then the loss to Como. I think it's not just the results, because I think you just need to be within striking distance come March and April. That's when it starts to become decisive. It's the way that they're starting to lose points and lose matches. They're not defending the way that they were. They used to keep a lot of clean sheets. The mistakes that they're making are crazy, but they're not creating opportunities. In the first half, they played really well against Como. But in a way, everything that they had done so well in the first part of the season, they're not doing now. Of course, we always go back to January and losing Kvaratskhelia, and you watch how well Kvaratskhelia is doing at PSG, and it makes you even more sad to think. But it feels like mentally this team has a big strain on it. And I don't know if this is just me trying to rationalize it, but maybe not having the pressure of being in first place, because it's the first time all year that Inter's in first place. Inter hasn't been in first place since the end of last year. Maybe that could help them in a way, but it all comes down to this weekend, this Saturday. If you lose to Inter, then the dream is basically over.
Listen, let me just say it many times. I've been saying this for the last couple months, because Napoli is looking that it's imploding right now on their own weight. Number one, I don't think this Kvaratskhelia move has really changed much. Napoli's attack. Don't tell me that Napoli was depending on Kvaratskhelia. It was not Kvaratskhelia dependent. I don't know.
They were better with him.
Better, but not depending on Kvaratskhelia. I seen the drive. The drive is not there. The passion is not there. They're starting to feel the pressure, not just from Inter. They're feeling the pressure from Atalanta and what's going on around on the league. And they have a lot more pressure because, I read something very quickly this morning before I left the house that says, Conte, when you're on top over there, the wind and the pressure is much higher than when you're on the bottom. I think this is just setting himself up to say, hey, by the way, we held at the top position up to now. Now, whatever happens. In other words, it's either abdicating the fact that they might not win, or is just trying to lower the expectation for the rest of the fans. And I guess he's giving himself an escape, just to say, hey, I did the best I could. What do you want me to do? You sold me Kvaratskhelia. Okay, now let's blame it on the De Laurentiis, because the pressure has shifted from him to De Laurentiis. I said, don't look at me. I didn't make the sale. I didn't force the transfer.
I think everybody is doing that. And even in his press conference, I watched him in his press conference where he didn't complain about it. But he also made it very known. He asked rhetorically to the journalist. He said, "Wait, what's the point difference between us and Inter?" As if he doesn't know. They said, 1 point. He goes, "Okay, beautiful. So that means we've made up 40 points from the end of last year because 41 points was the difference between Inter and Napoli, and that is what Conte brings to a team. But there's also a certain limit to where this team can go. Again, I don't want to say that it's over because of the points, because it's still very close, and Inter will drop points. I firmly believe especially if you beat Lazio in the Coppa Italia, you have to play Milan 2 times, and there's still Champions League to go for. It's just Napoli itself. I don't like the signs that I'm starting to see in this team. For them to fall out in the second half after playing a good first half, that scares me. That's not the Napoli that I expected. But then maybe if you go back and you say, I didn't expect them to beat Atalanta and Juventus, and they did. So now they got their drop, and maybe they could find their rhythm again.
That the lineup that he had with the 3-5-2, I don't like it. I think he had started with the 4-3-3, and I can't wait for Terrace to come back, because I think with the 4 guys in the back, that goal yesterday would have never happened. The 2 goals would have never happened. Both goals came straight from the middle. Juan Rahman, I mean, stupid mistake. You give the ball back without looking. And then if you look at the second goal, the midfielder Nico Paz was coming in by himself, and Rahman was in the middle. So if he put pressure on the ball, then his man behind him is by himself. If he doesn't put pressure, Nico Paz keeps coming. If they had 4 defenders in the first and the second goal, I think would never happen. But so maybe I think the team that he wanted, that he had set up, was for the 4-3-3 with the 2 wings then coming back.
It helps Raspadori, but that's it.
Right.
That formation, basically.
It helps Raspadori, but I will find a way with the 4-3-3 to put Raspadori there. If he keeps scoring, I'll put him there.
Do you feel less scared of this Napoli?
No, I don't think it's a matter of being less scared. It's more
Here's
so.
a press conference. Come on.
I'm serious. They're
politically correct.
They're 1 point away. They're right where they have to
Not
be.
even you believe
If we're
that.
giving, Gaetano said Juventus is still in it. Atalanta's still in it. There's a lot of games to be played, and I think Inter especially, they have a lot of workload to go. When you discuss Champions League, you see if they can win versus Lazio, and then have an additional 2 games where there's going to be a lot of pressure on Inter. We know that. We've seen that, our bench has not. Look at Mike. Our bench has not lived up to what we expected, meaning Taremi is not the striker, the replacement for Thuram. And, going to Napoli, since we're talking about Napoli, you lose a Kvaratskhelia. Let's not forget Osimhen left in the summer. So you don't have any firepower up top. So the thing is, sure, Napoli weren't dependent on Kvaratskhelia, right? They had all these guys scoring goals, Anguissa, McTominay, these guys all partaking. But the difference is, when the going gets tough, you need your star players to come out. Inter, Lautaro scores. In Champions League, you see the guys get that one chance to score, and they kill you.
Yeah.
That's what Napoli is missing right now, where they don't have any spark off the bench or a leader within that offensive front that can change the game or put fear, as you mentioned, to the opposing team.
My friend gave a really good comparison, and he said this reminds him of the 2021-2022 season, where it was in Inter's hands, and Milan was by far not the favorite to win the Serie A. And what did they do? They stayed really close to Inter. They waited for them to make a mistake. There's the infamous Radu situation with the ball that goes through. And then you're reliant on Inter to slip up. And I do see a lot of similarities between that season and this one of Napoli. And Napoli need to keep it close. And next week against Inter, the gap in quality is very, very high. It's clear.
What do you mean? I mean, in favor of Inter?
Yes, of course. Inter on paper,
If we have
is way
everybody
better.
playing.
Is way better than Napoli. But Napoli need to be able to overcome this obstacle once again. They have done it in the past. They need to show it. This can't be one of those games where you make the mistakes that they've been making in the past couple matches.
You're also playing in Naples, which is not easy for any team going in there.
Do we agree that this is the one?
No.
No?
No.
You don't think it's decisive?
No.
If Inter wins, it's 4 points.
I think it's going to end in a tie, number one.
I don't
If it
think
ends
it's
in
going
a
to tie.
tie,
But
so
if
too.
Inter would win, Is that the nail in the coffin for Napoli?
I would say no.
Peter, you seem like you want to lean more yes than no.
Yeah, I want to say yes.
Psychologically, yes,
Correct.
but
that was my point. My point is, mentally, you lose to Inter, so already you're kind of saying, okay, they're better than us. And then as the season goes on, you're always going to feel like you're chasing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also Conte, if he loses to Inter, he's going to say something in a press conference. There could be some issues at hand.
You know why I say no? Because against Fiorentina, you guys didn't show up. Okay? The Fiorentina had 14 players. And you were not there, so you lost 3-0. So I think that Inter, that could happen a couple of more times.
You know what I like to say, Gaetano? It's I think it's been missing in this whole thing here. The Kvaratskhelia factor, it's a non-factor because Kvaratskhelia was not really playing as much as she should have been playing, and Neres was already his
that's different.
Hold on, 3 or 4 games before Kvaratskhelia was sent to a PSG.
But now they have neither.
What?
Now they have neither.
I know. But before then, Conte was a kind of a little cocky. He said, "Don't worry." He said, we're just gonna play with what we have, and we're gonna do the best we can, but on a cocky way." That was saying, "Hey, don't worry about it. We'll figure something out." I mean, he didn't say expressly or literally the way I'm saying, but he was not as worried as he's looking right now. Because Neres was doing very, very, very well. Not just well, extremely well.
And he's got
now,
another 20, 30 days to go until he's back.
How many weeks? How many weeks?
That doesn't make
3 weeks? 3 weeks?
Antonio, that doesn't make any difference because guess what? Kvaratskhelia is a player that you want on your team. When going gets tough, as we mentioned, when you're not able to find the goal from someone else, you need the star qualities to come out
Lukaku,
and win you the game.
Lukaku has to wake up. If
Yeah,
Lukaku wakes up and scores a couple of goals, otherwise Napoli's got no
Yeah,
chance.
they have nobody up top that's
To
going
be
to
fair,
score. Who's going to score?
I agree Lukaku needs to be better, but if you do look at the goals that he scored and the assists, they're all very crucial goals. They're all the ones that won Napoli games against Juventus and these important moments. He's not the Lukaku of Inter. We could see that. That's very clear. I think the other point too is that it's decisive for Napoli. Napoli was always going to slip up throughout the season. My hope is that they used up all their lifelines. Exactly. They used up all their lifelines right now in these last 3 or 4 games. You have to go on and be perfect. And if they can be perfect, I do think Inter will slip up. That's a big if.
The thing is, the motivation on this point is more for Napoli here, because if they manage to win or not lose against Inter, I feel like that can maybe give them the spark that they've been missing.
I agree.
And maybe with that, it'll ignite them, because they've been in shambles the past few games. So maybe with the win, even a good performance with a draw, maybe it can reignite something and get something going. That's the only hope.
I agree with Mike. I think a draw will go a long way for Napoli.
One more thing. Can you envision this scenario that the Cholito can play as a number 10 behind Lukaku and then have a more star power right on top? Because Cholito, if he's got a chance, Cholito is very angry to score. He's somebody that he needs something to happen very quickly.
I think Conte is he's confused at this point.
Is he?
He's trying to go with the 3-5-2. It helps Raspadori, but then the team is limited, like we just mentioned, in so many different areas. So we'll see what happens, but I don't envision them switching anything from now until Saturday. Why don't we talk about the other team who came back into discussion? I did say a couple weeks ago I thought that they were out of the Scudetto race, but Atalanta, I didn't expect them to go out of the Champions League, and I think that's the biggest thing for me. I thought they were still going to have to compete in that competition. They're out of the Coppa Italia. They're out of Champions League. They didn't go far in the Supercoppa. They lost convincingly. This is the only thing that they have. Gasperini has come out and basically said he's leaving Atalanta, whether that be at 2026 or whether that be this summer. The feeling has been there for quite some time, I would say, also with Gasperini. This is his last shot. They've got 12 games to try to do something that would be unthinkable, win the first ever Scudetto for Atalanta. Is there anyone here who says, yes, they can win it?
I say yes.
The door's over there.
Well, I also think that Napoli and Inter are going to tie this weekend. So right there,
Atalanta play Venezia.
Yeah, so right there, Atalanta is going to make up points. I foresee it. Then even if one or the other wins, meaning Inter or Napoli, Atalanta is still going to be right there for the killing. So they don't have anything else to live for. I think Gasperini kind of is exhausting everything that he's got. So he's going to make it, I think, a point to his players to say, hey, let's bygones be bygones. Let's finish out the season and let's win something. Then I'm leaving. So this is our opportunity. Lukman, you want to be sold? Win a freaking campionato here, become the legend that you are, and we'll sell you. Like, I think Gasperini is done. And even to my point, Gasperini, I think he's going to have a lot of suitors, but I'm also afraid on where he ends up because he's been giving a lot of, let's say, a loose leash, right? A lot of slack for the stuff that he says. And to be quite honest, I'm quite surprised because look at Lukman. The guy scored the goals, after your coach badmouths you pretty much to the press. So maybe
it could be a motivational. It could be a motivational factor. It can just work both ways.
There's something to this madness.
Is anyone else? We'll get to where we think Gasperini could be and who could be the coach there because I think it's a really good topic to talk about. Anyone else say yes on Atalanta winning?
I am.
You say Atalanta could win.
Could
Okay.
win.
I would say that Atalanta have something in common with Inter that Napoli don't have out of the three, which is they could kill games off. They win games 5-0 against Empoli that Napoli always keeps these teams involved. So they have the firepower. You got Matteo Retegui who scored 21 goals. You got Lukman who scored 2 goals. The firepower that they have is incredible. And again, they have to make this pact of it's 12 games. This is the only thing we have. This opportunity is very rare to ever come across. It's going to be the last time that this group together could do it, like a guy like Derun. And there's so many different leaders that we'll probably not see at Atalanta for much longer, especially from Gianpiero Gasperini. So I will say I throw them in there, and I think that they could win the Campionato.
And just to go off on that point, it's kind of like Leicester's miraculous season. All the top guns are kind of out or just leaving it in the clouds in a sense. Both Inter and Napoli, the recent form, has been terrible or not consistent with the past Scudetto winners. So if there's ever a time to win something, it will be now, especially that you're within, let's say a game, 2 games at hand. So this is the time to throw all your chips into the middle and say, hey, we got to go all in.
And they play Venezia before Napoli and Atalanta play, which psychologically could help them. Where do we think, Mike? Where do you think Gasperini could go this summer? Because I think he's not going to go until 2026. I think it's a long time coming that he was going to leave Atalanta, and I think this is the summer. So where do you think he could go?
I mean, wherever he goes, I just hope it's in Serie A because at the end of the day, you might not. Some people, you're on the seesaw if you like him or not, but you can't deny what he's done. He's brought amazing results. He's fostered amazing Primavera players and turned them into incredible talent and sold them. And he has great philosophy. It's always fun watching Atalanta play it for just the regular fan. So, but we've also talked about in the past who maybe he could go to, or in terms of who needs a coach. We're talking about Ranieri's doing a good job, but he's most likely not going to continue there as head coach. That could probably be one suitor.
Do we like Roma?
Pete's shrugging over there.
You don't like Roma for him?
No, finish your thought. I just think... No, I don't want to interrupt.
But you made a face when I said Roma.
No, I think Gasperini in these markets,
he needs a smaller market, you're saying?
I feel like one wrong thing, happens, and all of a sudden he's bad-mouthing XYZ player, and is creating issues. In Atalanta, you get away with it. In Roma, that they expect you to win the Scudetto, and you don't have the team to win the Scudetto. A lot of press, a lot of heat.
So where could you see him? Because
it was rumored to go to Napoli.
I don't see him with any really big teams. I'm sorry.
I do.
Because
it's true.
Quality-wise, sure. But the moment he opens his mouth, he's going to create conflict. And like I said, with the Percassi, I think there's a relationship there that they know they need him to win, and they've always followed him. But you go to Milan, they're not going to accept certain things being said.
Unless he's winning.
Who said so?
Because you're going to have the fans.
Speak up for yourself. That's Inter.
Okay,
But also
you guys sacked him after 3 weeks.
No, Inter was a
Anto,
different situation.
Anto, he also has a problem with a lot of big name players. It's clear. It's his way or it's the highway. It's not a conversation. He's not a great man manager. He makes a lot of the players are better around him, but do they ever sign a superstar? No. He makes them into a superstar. So it would have to kind of be like a Bologna situation. Bologna have a very good coach with Vincenzo Italiano, but there's also Sartori there, who he worked with.
They don't have the greatest relationship
in the past.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't?
No.
Okay, so I
I
guess
can see Gasperini going to Juventus.
no.
Let me
come
tell you
on,
something.
come on, no.
He wishes.
Let me tell
He
you
wants to go to
something.
Juventus.
Thiago Motta,
He loves
first of all, he
Juventus.
was rumored to go to Napoli before Conte was signed, okay? Napoli would have been a very good spot for him. Maybe him and De Laurentiis been, some of those...
They would have been headbutting
some of
each
those
other.
backstab. Don't worry about it. It's between us and then bam, 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 bam. They stab you right on the back.
You have a
But-
translation?
But
This is about
listen
this.
to me. This Gasperini,
What does that mean, Antonio?
ADL, don't worry about it. It's something that cannot be said live.
You see him
on,
go to Napoli.
I would say Napoli could be a good suitor for Gasperini in case Conte fails, because I think he's on the road to fail.
He's not failing.
But
He's in Champions League. How's he failing?
They're
Milan
both-
The
is
guy
failing.
is
Failing
winning
to
first
win the
place.
cup.
Why don't you go to
Campionato.
Milan? You want him at Milan.
I
So
would
that's
love
what
to
you have
see
to
it.
say.
You would take
But
him?
right
You would
now,
take him at
I
Milan?
would. Definitely I would.
You
Yes.
would?
I would.
You think the relationship with Zlatan and the guys upstairs would be
I
okay?
think Zlatan can work with Gasperini. Zlatan and Gasperini, they have a lot of respect for each other.
I always go back to what Zlatan said in the summer why they didn't get Conte. He said, we need a coach, not a manager. Meaning, we want a coach to stay there and do what he wants. And Gasperini, as you mentioned, he likes to have his hands in a lot of different places. And rightfully so, because he's made Atalanta a lot of money. And I also think Atalanta risks a lot. I know that they don't like some of the headaches that Gasperini brings with them. But he is, in a lot of ways,
They like the
Gasperini-
cash.
he is what Atalanta is. And who do they go for? The rumor now is Sarri. That's what everyone's talking about, that Maurizio Sarri could go there.
To where? Atalanta?
Atalanta.
No.
He would fit in the sense that he's, again, another person that I don't think he wants to be at a high pressure place. When he was at Juventus, he didn't like that. He didn't want to just win. He wants to build with a beautiful style. They like to play a beautiful style. But again, it's just, it's a risk for Atalanta.
I mean, a few years ago, Gasperini was also about to leave, and then they worked things out. I don't know. If I'm Percassi, he's got a good relationship with Percassi. If I'm why would I let him go? You stay here until 2026, and then we'll talk about it.
I wonder what Papa
I agree.
Gomez is thinking about this.
But Papa Gomez always speaks nicely about Gasperini. Recently, he said a lot of times, I owe a lot of things to him. And even guys like Mele and Demiral, they've come out against him. But at the end of the day, most of the players say he did make me better, even if you didn't want to stay there for a long
I
time.
have
Listen, he's the best coach in Italy. Okay,
Gasperini.
Gasparini. He made a mistake coming out against the Lookman. What he said, he shouldn't have said that. That was that you don't throw your star player under the bus. Yeah. You want to tell him off in the locker room and tell him all the things that you want. But I think he is, if not the best coach.
Not just in Italy, in
put
Europe,
Conte.
I would say.
Huh?
In Europe. I think it's one of the best in Europe,
mean,
not just in
that's-
Italy.
I got
Yeah,
Conte.
yeah.
If you ask me to choose
Well,
the best,
it's one
I
of the
choose-
best. So 1 or 2 it doesn't make a difference.
I just listen. Conversation with players. I think certain older players, they realize, like you said with Papa Gomez, you have the coach is there to coach you and to make you better. If you ultimately are playing in Champions League and Europa League consistently every year, 1, you're gaining market value. 2, you're gonna get a better salary. So all of a sudden, you could have the worst relationship with your coach, but if he's playing you and you're ultimately doing well as a player, then he's doing what's right for
that's
you.
basically
That's
what he
what it
said
is.
about Lookman.
Yeah.
The other day, they asked him about Lookman scoring goals. He goes, well, he started scoring goals when I coached him, meaning in the past, when he was in other places, he didn't always score goals. And guess what? His track record checks out for it. And guess what? How about the players that leave Atalanta and then never become what they should become and don't live up to their transfer fees? Because there's a long list of those players too. So there's always that balance, and I think there is a lot to be said for Lookman to stay at Atalanta and not to look for greater pastures. Of course, he needs to see the project and who's going to be the coach, but I wouldn't be so quick to jump ship. Also because PSG, that option is no longer there. So where are you really going to go in Europe that's higher, that's going to be competing in Champions League? Maybe Arsenal who want a left-sided attacker, but
Inter wants him.
Inter, Juventus, either way. I'm just saying the market is not, I don't think the market is as big compared to the risk that there could be. Why don't we talk about Juventus? You said you had good news. You think Juventus is back in the Scudetto race?
I think Juventus is back. Why is Juventus back in the race? Because they've been winning. Now, finally, they've been winning game after game. And I see that Inter lost points and Napoli lost points. So if they slip a little bit, you never know. And they keep winning. 3, 4, 5 games from now, you never know what might
Four
happen.
wins in a row for Juventus in Serie A. In Serie A, obviously Champions League is what Peter was smiling at when you
Four
said that
wins,
before.
one nothing,
Anto, you know what
2-1.
it is?
Hey,
listen.
They don't like the Champions League music.
hear
They
you.
need to hear their own song.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, Peter's not wrong.
Meaning you-
Peter's,
na- na-
Peter's
na-
not,
na- na-
not
na-
wrong.
na- na-
I mean,
na-
you look at Juventus's history in the Champions League, it's not great in recent years. But, okay, I do think there's a lot of merit to that, and the stats do back it up. Because if you look at Thiago Motta's Bologna side last year, they didn't take off until February. That's where they started going on an incredible run where I believe they won every single game in February and then got into the Champions League spot. So Juventus's worst case scenario, Juventus has to finish in a Champions League spot. That's been clear all year. I think that's where Giuntoli and Cole can justify and say a lot of things went wrong. We had injuries. We had a young team. We're not happy on where we were. We're not happy with how some of the signings worked out. But at least we're in Champions League because financially it would be a disaster for Juventus if they're not. And they're going to keep Thiago Motta, of course. There's no way you can't keep him. But finally, at least we're starting to see the motions. They do the same thing against Cagliari, though, and they just don't get caught out with it. They do a really good first half, and the second half, they leave it open. Even if they had a penalty kick that probably should have been given and this and that. But, yeah, for Juventus, you can't rule them out.
And the other thing is that Vlahovic, after 3-4 games that he didn't play, he came in, he scored.
3-4 games, 8 games.
8 games he didn't
He
play?
didn't start in 8 of the last 9 matches.
Okay.
Finally started.
It was worse than I expected. Worse than I thought.
So, but he came in. I mean, he stays on the bench. He doesn't complain, except when he talks about Gatti. But you know, he's always encouraging. He's always there with the coach. He hugs the coach. He squeezes whatever. And I think that
squeezes. What does he squeeze? What does he squeeze?
His nose, his nose.
What?
His nose.
Oh, his nose.
And,
Okay.
and also, Koopmeiners. I'm waiting for Koopmeiners to get better. I think
Better from the fever that he's had all year.
that I mean, he did very well in Atlanta. I used to love him in Atlanta. The guy,
Atlanta?
He's
In Atlanta over here, in Georgia over here.
is a player that he can defend. He can play any position in the midfield. He just needs to score. If he could get that goal,
That's all. That's all he needs.
I can do the rest too. I just need to score.
That's all he needs. I agree with you, 100%.
this guy can become the player that he was last year. That we all thought. That's why Juventus got him, because he was some kind of players. So sometimes you score one goal, you get the confidence back. Also, he's got a new coach. And maybe he's not getting the ball the way he wants. Every great players, you change team. It's not that you're going to play great right away. It takes time to adjust. So you have to be patient with Koopmeiners. But I'm waiting for him. And if he starts scoring a few goals, and Vlahovic is good, and Colomani is there, you could see that they play together. If you need to score a goal, if you're behind, if not, you have a good center forward in Colomani where he gets the ball and he can score. So I think the team, little by little, he won 4 games in a row. Maybe they can win another 4 in a row, and that's 8 games in a row. That would go a long way.
I agree. It's taking some time. We're all saying question marks. Oh, is Mota doing? What's he doing? Blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you're going to a new spotlight. We said it a million times. It's going to take time. But Juve also got to know that, yes, they're focused on Serie A, but Atalanta and Milan are on the same path. They got eliminated from Champions League, and now all their eggs are in that basket, so it's going to be even more tougher for
Don't
that
you
Champions
worry.
League
We'll
dogfight.
get to Milan in just a bit. I'm starting to feel like with Koopmeiners, he kind of reminds me of Pogba. My take on Pogba in the past was Pogba and Koopmeiners could be like a cherry on top of a cake. They could increase a really good team, but to really build around them, he doesn't have that. And with the price tag that he comes with, you do expect that. So meaning to say, Koopmeiners is really good at Atalanta, but it's not that everything revolved around Koopmeiners. They had a really good foundation, and then he was a good piece to the puzzle, but he wasn't integral.
Right, but the player, you also have to look at the players around him. You know, that changed. And maybe the players that are around him, they are different than what he was used to. So it takes an adjustment period for him to get to that level.
We're in February.
But did you did you like him when he was in
I loved it.
Atalanta?
Who
You liked
didn't?
Okay. All right. So maybe it takes a little bit more.
But I loved a lot of players at Atalanta.
Or it
and
could
then-
be a track record of him not
Also, he
turning into the
he was
player
a
he
little
was
closer
supposed
to the goal with
He was
Atalanta.
much
So
closer.
with
Yeah,
Juventus,
yeah.
he had to take a step
He's
back.
deeper.
So
Yeah.
it all depends on, I think what Gaetano is saying is, new system, new players. You're not going to get the same output if you don't have the same input. So it takes time. It takes time to build out. The price tag, obviously, I think is something that's on his head.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, if somebody is worth $5 million, you look at him in a different way than if he's worth $60 million, right? So the expectations are a lot higher. You're on Juventus; it's a demanding team.
Yeah.
So I think with Thiago Motta, it's such a strange season this year, because if you want to dissect every team, there's problems with every team this year. Even Inter can beat a Juventus, can beat a Milan, can beat their head-to-head competitors, but yet they're still in the Scudetto race. That's why I say it's such a weird year.
No one's perfect.
It's a weird year. So going back to Juventus, it's a team that, sure, they can be in it, but I just feel like the gap is too wide right now. It's too late in all of this.
You got to be in it to win it, Paisan. So
Milan are definitely not in it.
GM over there, Gaetano Messina, he said, I have some good news. Don't worry, I'll tell you after the podcast. So sure enough, it was this news that is actually no news. Juventus is not Juventus is not winning crap. So anyway, they're going to stay on the Champions League, hopefully.
Why don't we talk about Milan?
Yes.
Another slip up. This time, Torino. You always hated Torino. I'll never
I did.
forget. He wanted Juric gone from Torino because he thought that was the problem.
When Torino were playing random teams, like, I hope Torino loses.
Torino
like,
are
why?
unbeaten in 11 of the last 12 home matches against Milan. For some reason, they got your number. More individual mistakes from this Milan. I've said it I've said it since October. Milan season could be summarized by, if it could go wrong, it will go wrong. You could just go back on the list of the problems that this team has had. It always seems like they cause their own problems over and over and over again. And I'm almost lost for words. Even the second goal, Anto, even the second goal, you don't stand in front. You don't stand in front to stop.
That's a little debatable. Let me just say.
Come on.
Debatable.
That's
Wait,
elementary
shut
school
up.
mistake. Come on.
Oh, boy.
Even in elementary school.
Shut up.
It's genuinely one of the first things I ever learned.
That's a
when I was
little
kid.
debatable. I'll tell you the reasons why. Milan deserves the position that they occupy right now, and rightly so, because it's 1 week is Magnan, then it's Teo Hernandez, it's back to Magnan, and then it's back to Teo Hernandez. It's just a French connection over there, never stops for some reasons. But, things like that, they happen for a reason. There's a lot of confusion going on over there. The captainship bands, the responsibility, the top brass over there making all of those moves, the fact that we got out of the Champions League in a very, very miserable way. I mean,
Are you better now with Conte than you were with Fonseca?
slightly, because not because of Fonseca, but because we spent the money. We spent the money to on Jimenez and a couple other
Fat Felix.
Yeah, but no, we didn't buy Jimenez. We bought but
Additions,
Felix,
bringing into the squad.
but to make a long story short, this AC Milan needs a Gasperini. That because the rumor is that they're gonna sell, and they're gonna start from scratch. And Gasperini can be someone that is gonna get some of the youth. He's gonna, get the value all the way to the sky, and he can be the one. I think Gasperini. I mean, I just hope that Conceição stays and we get into the Champions League, especially if we get this fifth spot or whatever.
You still
But,
hoping for the Champions League?
Oh,
You
boy.
think you
I am.
can still get in the Champions League?
Yeah, I might.
I think the
Might.
Champions
Come
League
on.
is.
No, I might.
Come on.
Unless
Come on. Yeah, come on,
unless
come
by
on.
a miracle Italy gets a fifth spot, Roma beat Athletic Bilbao.
Yeah.
I don't
Why
think
cannot be? It cannot happen.
you need a miracle.
So if we, there is a
But
song.
even if we
All
get
I
the
need
fifth
in a
spot, Milan
miracle.
has to be in the fifth
That's
spot.
a-
This is
that
the
too.
problem.
That too.
Right.
Milan is a mess.
Yeah, look how happy you look.
I never seen Gaetano happy.
Oh, I know. But
Milan is a
give
mess.
him another glass.
I mean, how can you
Over the
let Theo still play? I don't understand. If you paint your hair like a clown, you got to be the best player in the field.
Like
If
Beckham.
otherwise,
Come on.
don't change your hair color every week, because you look like a clown.
What did Beckham do with Ferguson? Remember when he came in with He came in with a beanie and made him shave it the next day.
But if you're gonna go like that, you gotta be the best player on the field.
Yeah.
That's only allowed
Not
to
the worst player on the field.
The best player on the field, not the player.
Come on, it doesn't matter.
That's
what
an old.
color
That's an
hair
old.
is.
Well, it
that's
does,
an
it
old-
does.
What
I
does it
gotta-
matter?
That's
No,
an
no,
old
wait,
midfield.
wait.
That's an old school
That's a
approach.
midfield.
What do you- what do you- what do you
when
say?
are you
I
a
agree.
midfield? Do you
No,
do that?
I
Come
partially
on.
agree with him. I'll
Wait,
tell
do
you
you
the
agree?
reasons
I know, 'cause
why.
you're old school too.
I want to know what Peter.
I don't think so much the coloring of the hair is an issue, but
The playing
did
on the
he make
field.
the mistake to get the second yellow on the bench?
The first yellow in the
In the Champions
midfield.
League, okay?
In the
So
midfield.
that's my only
You
thing.
pull the guy
You
down.
have to make an
Give me
example
a
of him.
break.
Hey, what you did cost us the game. You're not playing the next week.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, of course. I agree with you.
I love that.
That's where
I
that's
agree
where you have to
100%
set the
with
line.
you.
Well,
Because it seems like this Milan team lack consequences, lack discipline potentially.
Yeah.
We see the same story every single game. Leao is in the first half does nothing, gets substituted out. Oh no, Leao, one game he's playing great. Oh no, he's the best player. We're not sure exactly what Leao gives to this team. If you're so inconsistent, you're not adding any value. This Milan team, we talk about this Milan team every week the same exact way. You don't know what to expect from this team. And if you see Constantine, the guy is scratching his head on the sideline. He doesn't know what to do. And I think it's just a matter of they need to just finish this season, and they really have to decide on some hard questions. They have to ask some hard questions and say, hey, who are we getting rid of? Because right now, it's similar to like a Manchester United, I have to say, for people that watch Premier League. It's a similar situation. These are glorious teams, historic teams that have so much of fans worldwide, but yet they keep on making the same mistakes over
but
and over
Peter,
and over again.
The thing that Milan, it represented to me a very high standard, class. When this team was on top of the world. Now these players, they do things in the middle of the field. It's like a joke. They had the thing with Theo that they were all what was a break. It was
The
like
water
a
break.
cooling water break, and everybody's together talking, and Theo is far away from the team.
Stealing the ball from each other on the penalty kick.
Yeah, that's
A million of them.
yeah, that's not AC Milan. That's why sometimes he said I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I'm used to at a high standard. I used to follow AC Milan when Gullit, Van Basten, and Donadoni, and Baresi, and there were Maldini. They were all there. That was the team. It was the team that everybody was looking at.
It is what it is. Listen, here's the deal. Management, I don't know what to do. Technically, listen, I gotta be careful what I say. I'll tell you the reasons why. First of all, I don't twist anything into a pretzel what you do, because even when you guys play like shit, you just say, "Oh, Inter is playing a spectacular game." I admit it. They're not playing well right now. They're not concentrated on the game. They are all over the place. As far as the Hernandez coloring is here, I give you slack, I think, because AC Milan is associated with the Yankees. On the Yankees, under Steinbrenner, let me just say something to you.
Not
You
anymore.
cannot shut up. Under Steinbrenner, you cannot really grow a beard or all over. Look like garbage. Technically, being like one of those.
I have a beard.
So we all
Well, now they are allowing you to have a beard like that, like a well-kept beard. But you cannot really have the Johnny Damon beard or, when you was at the Red Sox. It's over. That stuff is over. But the fact that they are actually allowing this, they say, hey, listen, maybe we do not have to be that strict with the player. But now, to Hernandez, I agree. The only thing that I agree with your father, if you got to show off like a pink and yellow or whatever the hell you put it on your head, you got to be a leader. But if you're not a leader, what the hell are you doing with yourself? Because the cameras, they're going to be on you more than that. And the less you produce on the field, and the less critical you are for this team to step up to the plate where you're supposed to be, the worse it's going to be for you, because the highlight is going to be on you. It's picking up on his hair, on his collar, and all of the tattoos, whatever the hell you want.
I think
that's garbage.
I think it's just a more of a generational thing. I get what you
listen,
guys
no.
are saying,
I mean, the
but
hair
for
is
me it
just
doesn't matter.
No,
It's the pitch.
The hair is
doesn't
just
matter.
a joke. The air is just a
Oh
joke.
boy, here we go.
The thing is, in the middle of the field, you're a professional player. You're one of the
Yeah, that's
be-
what matters.
They keep saying that this guy is the best left fullback, and in the middle of the field, in a game in a Champions League, you grab the guy's shirt 50 yards, 60 yards from the goal, and you put him down, and you get a yellow card. That something is not right. Up here, there's something is wrong. That's all I'm saying.
And there's a lot of mistakes going on. Speaking
Well,
about things that are
apologized.
Speaking about
to
things
his-
that
to
are
his
messed
credit.
up in the head, Lorenzo Luca had one of the craziest situations I've ever seen in Serie A, and that's saying a lot for a league that has a lot of crazy things that happen to it. For the people that didn't see, Lorenzo Luca, player of Udinese, he grabbed the ball to try to take a penalty kick when it was 0-0 in the 30th minute. Tovan is supposed to be the designated penalty kick taker. He's got the captain's armband. It was a disaster. Every Udinese player came, grabbing him by the shirt, trying to steal the ball from him. Tovan stood in front of him to stop him from taking the penalty kick. Luka didn't care. He took the penalty, and he took an incredible penalty, by the way. He put it in the top left corner. That was perfect. He scores the goal. He gets subbed out, and then he posts on Instagram, kind of joking around about the situation.
But his teammates surely celebrated with him on the goal, no?
Oh, they didn't celebrate with him on the goal as well. What do you guys? Okay, the old school guys. What do you think about this? At least,
Team's orders are team orders. You're gonna have to just follow through, because then you diminish your coach. You diminish the direction that the coach has given you during practice, and you diminish the rest of your player. In other words, you just shit on them. Okay. In other words, I mean, it's a bad
I don't
word
think you
to
need
say
any
it.
other words.
No,
That's
let
it.
me
You
tell
said
you
it
something.
perfectly.
No, hey, listen. The guy said, I don't care what the coach said or I'm taking the penalty. This is like playing on Bay 8 or playing over here on the dustboard. This is not Bay 8 or the dustboard. If the coach has said that Toven is going to take the penalty, he's going to take the penalty. No, Luca, he did what he did. I mean, did I have a discussion, yes or not? Was he subbed? Yes. Okay. So at the end of the year, we will see whether Luca is going to be a player for Udinese, whether it's not. And I think I will take Luca. I don't mind.
What do you think about the situation? I knew I was waiting for it to come back.
It's very disrespectful for your coach, for the team. People are watching. Do you know how long that lasted?
It's like 5. It was like
No,
3
it was
3 minutes, 4 minutes.
It was 2.5 minutes.
You got the stopwatch. You had the stopwatch out.
But
on,
2.5 minutes.
It's a long time. It's a long
time.
time.
I'm not talking about 30 seconds. I have seen it other play, but 30 seconds. The captain goes there, he grabs the ball, and the player at this point lets it go. This guy didn't want to let it go, and he had like four players around him. So I think it's very disrespectful. First of all, to the fans. First of all, to the team, to his players, and to the coach. I mean, it doesn't look good. My question and my curiosity was, what happens if this thing keeps going for 5 minutes? I mean, is there a point where the referee says, what can the referee
You
do?
lost
No
the
more
penalty
penalty.
kick.
Huh?
You
No
lost
more
the penalty kick.
No, I mean, can he give him a yellow
I
card?
think he did get a yellow card.
Yeah.
You can get a yellow card.
I think he got a
Can
yellow
Those
card.
things, yeah.
No, somebody else got a
Somebody
yellow
else
card.
got, okay.
But can Luka get a red card if
Yeah,
he
technically,
doesn't?
delay of game.
Yeah.
If he
It'll
It'll be
doesn't.
very
I mean,
difficult.
Lecce was getting annoyed.
It'll
I
be
think it was
The goal
Gallo
kick- the
What-
goal-
was trying to
the
grab the
goalie
ball
could
from
get-
him.
Yeah, one of the guys from
Gallo.
Lecce went there and he got a yellow card. I didn't see Luka getting a yellow card, but I was thinking if this thing
check.
keeps going,
Yeah.
how long do you let the referee? How long do you?
What's end time, right?
Yeah, do you kick him off? Maybe you give him a red card and say, okay, get out.
Now, Gaetano, I have a. What would have
Luka got a yellow card.
He got a yellow
Got a
card.
yellow card.
Gaetano.
And then, I mean, sorry, this frame right here, 31st minute, yellow card Luka. 32nd minute, penalty kick goal Luka. 36th minute, subbed off Luka.
Gaetano, if after he got subbed off, obviously, if Udine got another penalty and Tovin actually took it and he missed it, what would happen?
No,
How
what if he
crazy would
missed
that
that
be?
one?
Who?
If
Right.
Luka
Luka.
missed
He
that,
got some.
it would have been a
He got
disaster.
some cojones, because he
did.
put
Yeah,
so
I know.
much pressure
There's a
on
lot
him.
of pushing the
There's
ball. and I was
so
like, how's
much
he gonna
pressure.
take
What
this?
happens if you miss the
what I'm
penalty?
saying.
You know what?
Yeah,
You know what the
look at
top
that.
comment was? We posted it. It has like 80,000 likes on Twitter. It's a lot for Twitter. The top comment, you know what it said? I know this will be an unpopular decision, But if a player could fight off all his teammates, fight off the opponent team, and take a penalty under that much pressure, I'm sorry, but he is the penalty kick taker for the team.
No, it's a lot of
Not a bad point.
Yeah, not a bad point at all.
I wanna.
Not a bad
So
point.
we all support Luka now.
There are people
know.
that are so scared to take the penalty.
But
This guy's fighting to
I
take the
know.
penalty. So,
I was thinking,
ice in
what
his
happens
veins.
if this guy
we need
misses
that on the
the
national team instead of
if
what's
this
his
guy
name.
misses
We went from
Yeah.
hating him to now he's got to
But
take the
I-
penalties for the
what I
national
would
team.
like to-
The one that put us out. What's his name? That he missed the penalty against
Jorginho?
Jorginho. Instead of Jorginho, we should have Luka over there.
But I would like to ask Mike Grella, what did he think about that? Did he say? Did you guys discuss
I
it?
don't think so.
Because I think Mike one time he took
He
the ball.
did something like that.
And he took the ball and he was not supposed to take the penalty.
And he did a
And-
cucchiaio.
And he missed.
Wow.
And then the other team took the ball and scored. And they lost the
That's
So
game.
Mike did it to Cucchiaio?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he
Mike,
missed,
I
but-
think the coach took
They
him
are
out.
forget.
Right?
The coach fought him in the locker room.
I mean, that's one thing. I want to know what happened in the locker room. But
Oh my
more
God.
importantly, like if there was on Udinese, right? If there was a De Rossi or one of the
Oh,
Gattuso,
would have fought him.
what would have happened?
Gattuso would have stabbed them. Gattuso would have gone outside and see get something from and go back and
Would have
stab
bit him.
him.
He just would have bit him. Runaic, actually, I listened to Runaic's press conference after the game. He's like, listen, it's not right. I don't like this for the fans. He's supposed to listen. Torvan is the penalty kick taker. I had to sub him off. But with all that being said, he took a really good penalty kick.
That was great.
It was so funny the way
I
that
think
Runaic said
the
it.
coach. Listen, the coach made an example of him.
He did
subbed
right.
him out
He did the right
away.
thing.
Yeah.
And also he maybe recognizes his 9 wanting to take the penalty, scoring the goal. So you give a little bit of credit. It's like the street kid on the corner that stands up to somebody. You're like, okay, I give him credit. Don't do it again, but I give him credit for
Those
that.
Bensonhurst
Is he
days.
going to start the
I
next
don't know.
game?
I was gonna ask that if he's gonna start next game, and also you guys didn't see full time. They posted a picture Udine of the team, just
Oh,
like
yeah.
a team photo, and you saw Luka in the back, just like this, like a scarecrow. Not even a
He won the
smirk
game.
about it.
Listen,
So
I
he probably something was definitely said
Mike,
about
listen
it.
to me. I understand something like this happens on the Greek leagues, but this is Serie A. So, when something like that happens in Serie A, you have to have some respect. So in the Greek
So
league,
we don't have no
nobody
respect.
cares. No, it's not
That's
that.
not
Nobody
nice, not
nobody watches the Greek league.
Yeah.
So
Anto,
let
Greek
that
Easter
happen,
invitations not coming to your door.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Ciao, ragazzi.
Guys.